With the presidential race deadlocked in less than 3 weeks until November 6, attention is understandably focused on who will win. But the impending fiscal cliff, that combination of tax increases and spending cuts that could trigger another recession, is already being discussed and negotiated by Democrats and Republicans. The Wonkblog's Ezra Klein has been writing about it today and joins us now. Ezra, good to have you in the fold.
Good afternoon.
So part of what you're describing today is leverage that the president may have should he get reelected.
What the White House believes their second-term agenda really is a fiscal cliff. Basically, the fiscal cliff has been set up in such a way that it is enormous leverage for Democrats. I constructed this chart here, and I think of it as this, what I'd call the dual trigger nightmare for Republicans. So what you're seeing here, the red lines are spending, the blue lines are taxes. So this is kind of a tour of what the fiscal deals have looked like over the last year or so. So we begin with the Simpson-Bowles, the fiscal commission, and you see a fairly rough equality between taxes and spending. Then you get the Ryan budget. It's tons of spending cuts and almost no taxes. And you go to Obama's first budget proposal. It's, again, more balanced between the two. Different proposals from the fiscal cliff, which, again, are more tilted towards spending cuts. And then over on the dual trigger, you see something you have not seen at any other point on this graph, or really at any other point in this process, which is about twice as much tax increases as spending cuts. So a real heavy emphasis on taxes, and those spending cuts end up being fairly progressive because about half of them fall in the Pentagon, which is not true in any of the other proposals either. So what has happened here is that if there's gridlock, the thing that our fiscal policy defaults to, the thing that our law defaults to, is way, way, way to the left. I'm not saying it's a good idea, by the way. I don't think it is, but it is way to the left. And as the White House sees it, that gives them a lot of leverage, because at this point, if they just do nothing, taxes go way up, that means Republicans need to come to the table. And so their real agenda for the second term is, if Republicans don't come to the table earlier, just push them right off the fiscal cliff. And then when they reach up for a hand up, get your bargain in.
There's, of course, a chance Romney could win the election, but this fiscal cliff issue would have to be dealt with before that. So then how would that play out?
I think that if Romney wins the election, you will see a lot of these fiscal cliff issues simply kicked down the road. I don't think you'll see the Obama administration trying to let us go over the cliff. If they've not won the election, I think they won't feel they have the popular mandate to do that, to sort of fight this negotiation out when they're not the ones who will be dealing with the other side of it. I'm not sure about that, right? They could decide to go out in a blaze of glory here, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Because there's just one line of thought that if they let the taxes increase, it puts Republicans in a tough spot of looking like they're benefiting the rich by then reducing the taxes that have just gone up. Some people think it puts Democrats in a stronger position to let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think, and I've had Republican Hill staffers tell me this directly, that it'll be much easier for Republicans to increase taxes from where they are now if we go over the fiscal cliff and all of a sudden taxes are actually much, much, much higher. Because let's say there's about a $5 trillion difference between Bush tax cuts expiring and where we are now. So if we let them expire and we're $5 trillion up, they could cut $3 trillion of that. Yeah. It's a $3 trillion tax cut and $2 trillion above where we are now, which is more than actually anybody even really has on the table, at least in the Obama-Boehner negotiations. So it would make it easier. And Republican Hill staffers know they don't want the taxes to go up, but they've said pretty clearly to me, look, we're not going to be able to do this unless we can call it a tax cut.
All right, Ezra, thanks a lot.
Thank you.